coast to coast, direct from Austin. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
All right, folks, let's move quick to your phone calls. Edward in New York, thanks for holding. You're on the air.
All right. Hello, Mr. Alex Jones.
Hey, buddy.
I wish to discuss a rather disturbing and rarely mentioned aspect of Obamacare since we're on the topic today.
Wait a minute. Everybody loves it. Ellen DeGeneres said so.
Yeah, well, we should thank her for this one, too, though. Thank Obama for this. And what it concerns is the right to trial by jury. As a prelude, I have often told people that when the right to trial by jury, so long as it remains intact, the people really have no one else but themselves to blame for tyrannical and abusive government. As Thomas Jefferson said, I consider trial by jury the only anchor yet imagined by man by which a government can be held to the principles of the Constitution.
No, you're right. It turns into administrative, waives a lot of the juries, allows them to use your data. It is a giant gang rape. But according to Riley Martin, who believes in flying saucers, it's wonderful.
Well, it's unbelievable, as you said, how this man trusts the system so well when the entire theme of the Enlightenment is not to trust the government, is to keep yourself free from government abuse and tyranny. That's what the whole Constitution. That's what.
Well, exactly. People go, why don't you trust the system? That's crazy. It's like, why don't you want to pour gasoline on yourself and light it? I mean, it is so crazy. Go ahead.
All right. So I just want to talk about trial by jury and Obamacare. So. When the Supreme Court redefined the Obamacare penalty as a tax, which placed it under the jurisdiction of the taxing authorities and the tax courts, that redefinition automatically voided our right to trial by jury if we're being penalized under the Obamacare tax. And what I find even more disturbing is that this precedent, it establishes a platform from which the authoritarian left and right can build and strengthen their unlawful empire. All they need to do now is attach fiscal penalties so long as they're absent of jail time or any other type of punishments, and they can subvert the jury system and just persecute everybody who refuses to conform right into submission.
That's what Obamacare is a total social engineering takeover. It makes your medical records totally public. They can swap all your data like baseball cards. The bill has got 13,000 pages of riders and addendums to it, and it's so horrible, I can't even believe it's law. But it doesn't matter. The average gullible Democrat literally will buy into anything.
Well, on another thing on the topic of Obamacare, I just wanted to talk about that real quick, but to me that's one of the most disturbing implications, is that there's a lot of Democrats now that are being... they don't report this in mainstream media, of course, but I know from people at work who used to be Democrats or still identify as Democrats. Many of us, because I work at a catering hall, we were cut back to 30 hours already.
I have been mobbed by people apologizing to me in Austin, saying they just got cut to 30 or less hours and just saw their payroll tax go up, and they're going bankrupt because of it.
People now, for instance, at my catering hall, we used to work 50
Yeah, but Riley says Obama's nice, so, everything's fine.
We got overtime. We made extra money in tips. Now we're back to 30 hours. Now many of us have to go find a second job. And now
it was written to impoverish the working class, period, and make you give up and go on welfare. I mean, they admit that. That's not debatable. They admit it's meant to wreck health care and impoverish the working class and wreck a social safety net of a free market. Go ahead.
All right. Anything more I want to talk about trial by juries? Let me think.
Well, no, listen, I appreciate... Okay, good. Listen, I'm going to do even more overdrive because I'm going to get to Lucas and Abe and Silly Rabbit. We've got a caller called Silly Rabbit. You got to go into overdrive and talk to Silly Rabbit. No, I mean, Democrats sit there. I'm not even a Republican, though I agree with more of what the libertarian side of that's doing. I mean, it's not my opinion. It was written by vicious, hardcore banks that go into places like Africa and murder whole villages for their property. I mean, the globalists put dictatorships in all over the world. They are criminal scum. They're spying on everything. We're all in great danger.
The Genesis Communications Network is one of America's premier broadcasters of captivating talk radio. We thank you for listening. Now, just imagine, there are thousands of people who are just as passionate about radio as you are. But what you may not realize is how easy and affordable it is to advertise with us. Radio commercials for your business could be heard on hundreds of radio stations across the U.S. every day. We can help you by creating an effective radio advertising campaign for your company. From script writing to producing your commercial, just like the one you're listening to right now. No other network provides the level of customer service we do. When it comes to radio advertising, we are your one-stop shop. And no matter how big or small your business is, we can help. Email us at advertise@gcnlive.com, and an experienced advertising executive will help you take the first step towards driving more customers to your business or website. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
Curious about what comes next? Next is the feeling of vulnerability you get after you arrive home to discover your house has been ransacked by burglars. Fool the bad guys with a new improved fake TV. You asked for it, we listened, and we made our new fake TV 3 times brighter than our previous model. The brightness of our new fake TV is equivalent to a 40-inch TV. It simulates the color and motion of a real TV while you're away from home. And when burglars think someone is home watching television, they're likely to pass your house and move on to an easier target. The new, brighter fake TV is only $39.95 and includes free shipping. Go to faketv.com or call 1-877-5-FAKE-TV. That's 877-532-5388 or go to faketv.com. Fake TV, the burglar deterrent.
Alex Jones here to tell you about how you can help spread liberty worldwide while also enjoying what I have found to be the best tasting 100% organic coffee on the planet. For more than a decade, my favorite coffee has come from the high mountains of southern Mexico, where the Chiapas farmers grow their unique shade-grown Arabica beans. We have now managed to secure these sought-after beans in a highly customized blend. Discover and try a bag of the Patriot Blend 100% organic coffee at InfoWarsLife.com. This coffee gives you a long, smooth pick-me-up for hours without the headaches and heartburn that so many other coffees give me personally. Hands down, this is my favorite coffee, and it's taken us years to secure connections directly to the Chiapas Mexican farmers. Drop by the site today, order a bag or two, and I don't think you're going to be disappointed. Available in original or with our Immune Support Infusion Blend. You will be supporting a free press, all the while enjoying a truly great-tasting cup of my favorite coffee. Available at InfoWarsLife.com.
He's the T-Rex of political talk. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
We're in overdrive right now for another 15 minutes or so. We're taking your phone calls on a host of issues on this Thursday worldwide transmission. Lucas in Arizona, thanks for holding. You want to talk about Rand Paul? Go ahead.
Hi, thank you. Nice to finally talk to you, Alex. I had 3 things to say. The first one was, I think I can understand why you're confused about the Ellen DeGeneres thing, and it's because Ellen doesn't view poor people or sick people, people with pre-existing conditions, as people. So that's why she knows that everyone is thankful that Obama brought in Obamacare. See, I think that's where we're not getting it. You know, to Ellen, everyone that matters is thankful.
All the glamorous, fake, liberal authoritarians living in their own little bubble world. Yeah, I guess everyone does love Obama, and everybody loves Obamacare in her circle of fantasy land.
Exactly. I mean, look at her Twitter pic. How many, let's say, people of color are in that famous Twitter pic? I mean, I think we know where she hangs out and who she hangs out with. So,
I mean, my issue is, how do you call yourself liberal and raise payroll taxes on poor people and increase the prices and do all the horrible things Obamacare does, and then sit there and parade around like you're wonderful people, and then the con game works so well that poor Democrats, as they go bankrupt, believe it?
Well, yeah, that's the Stockholm Syndrome. That's exactly the Stockholm Syndrome that you're speaking of. They have to keep it up. If they stop now, the prisoners might start getting restless. So they'll never give up the tagline. They'll never ever stop, because to do so, even though they know this is failing, it is just going to. They don't know where to go. They have nowhere else to go, nowhere to back down to. My second point was kind of about Rand Paul. I wanted to say that I like Riley Martin. I thought he was very interesting, even to talk about the aliens. A more realistic, I guess we could say, idea of the alien is, of course, John Carpenter's The Thing, which you have spoken about before, and how it goes around and it becomes what we are in order to basically eat us. It's food.
And it takes over the entire infrastructure so that it becomes the reality. It's like a thing that becomes the entire world, an artificial habitat, so we don't know any better. It's more advanced than John Carpenter's Thing.
Of course. But see, that's the other thing about that is that anybody at any time, any movement, like you said before, can be taken over. It can be amalgamated into the system. So that gentleman that called earlier who was talking about the op-ed that Rand Paul wrote in Time, I read it, and I read the whole thing, and it's a little worrisome. It's not just, America good, Russia bad. It's things like, I would do what Obama is doing, only harder, stronger, and like a man. And, there's a number of different articles on Infowars.com that anyone can look up that show that economically, that's not going to work.
Well, I'll say this. That's also diametrically opposed to what his father is saying. And I know he's his own man, but his father's certainly correct about what he's saying. I didn't see that. I'll have to read it. I've seen some quotes out of it. That is disturbing. And that's more than just, politically not fighting with people on the military issue. That's giving into it all. And that's certainly positioning for the presidential run. And the argument is, well, that's how he gets in. And then, is able to, that's what the liberals would do. That's what the socialists would do, is they would say they were anti-war and then be pro-war. He would say he's pro-war and then be anti-war. But I'll have to go read the full quotes and to get into that. Thank you. I'll check it out. Man, I sure hope, look, his advisors do know how politically ignorant the average American is. And that if a new Cold War is starting, he said, hey, I don't want wars from what I heard. I haven't read it yet. I've seen his other quotes. I don't want to have a war with them, but, Russia shouldn't be doing this. Russia didn't do this. And again, it's not siding with Russia. It's like if the sun came up in the morning and I said, there's the sun. It's not siding with the sun. The sun is there. I'm not endorsing Russia. I'm not talking about, them being better than us. I'm saying NATO and the EU went and started this with Soros and overthrew the country and took over 90% of it and are acting like it's a victory for Putin, grabbing some of their military bases on the border and some naval bases. I mean, it's a defeat for Russia. Russia was starting to dominate Ukraine politically. And so the argument is, hey, we don't want Russia to start expanding again. The West helped fund Russia's expansion under the Soviet. It helped put the Bolsheviks in 1917. That's why none of that holds water when, different neocons come out and say, Alex Jones and Ron Paul work for the Russians because they're, what? The Trotskyites that you work for came out of Russia, and they are the neocons. Let's talk to John. But, basically, that's what Rand Paul's afraid of. He wants to be positioned to not be his pop and to say, I'm tough on Russia. It's pure politics. And the danger is you start playing politics, you will become what your posing is. So, whatever. Let's go ahead and talk to John in Carolina. Go ahead, North Carolina.
Hi, John. I just wanted to comment on the former naval intelligence officer that you had in on Sunday, this past Sunday.
Yeah, he said he was, and I think he was telling the truth. He sounded very informed.
I'm prior Army intelligence. I did my training in Fort Huachuca, Arizona, and I wanted to speak, geopolitically in the same kind of topic. If you look recently, they had articles about how they're trying to expedite the permits for natural gas export to Europe and Japan, because, Europe and Japan, they have high natural gas prices. So that there's a big
Absolutely. We should be loading those super tankers up with gas and shipping